Join the VLGA and LGIU for their next Global Executive Live panel on Thursday the 22nd of May, addressing a pressing issue for local government. This webinar will explore the experiences and lessons from across the globe when it comes to civility in public life. Hear from experts about what they're observing, the reasons for a decline in civility, and the impact this is having on retaining talent and promoting diversity. Tickets are free for VLGA members and alumni, and $60 for non-members, excluding GST. Head to the VLGA website to find out more and secure your place. And we look forward to seeing you at the Global Executive Live panel Thursday the 22nd of May from 5:30 p.m. Council Alliance loses a member. A mayor granted an interim court order. An election signage dispute could be headed for court. A snag for North East Council's childcare centre outsourcing plan. The passing of a long-serving Metro Melbourne councillor. A new approach to combating abandoned shopping trolleys. The Queensland Council reverses course on EV infrastructure again. Plus CEO appointment news. Council workers on strike. And councils under fire for promoting vaccine scepticism. All of that and more just ahead on the Local Government News Roundup. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. It's Thursday, the 1st of May. Welcome back to the podcast, which is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. Lots of fresh local government news today and still some catching up to do after our recent break. We're going to start in the northwest of Victoria, where a recently formed council alliance has hit some troubled waters this week. Firstly, Bullock Shire Council has strongly refuted recent media claims about a supposed $100 million deal with VicGrid regarding the VNI West transmission project. In a statement released on Tuesday, the council insisted that no such agreement exists. The council was initially part of a 5-shire alliance, including Yarri-Ambiac, Northern Grampians, Hindmarsh and West Wimmera. However, Northern Grampians Shire Council has since withdrawn from the alliance, citing differing positions on the VNI West project and the need to prioritise their farming community's interests. The remaining alliance members are pushing for 3 key priorities: fair compensation for affected farmers, access to wholesale electricity prices for communities hosting new infrastructure, and investment in regional housing projects. The council said Mayor Alan Getley's recent comments were taken out of context by media outlets, and that it maintains its commitment to protecting local interests and ensuring community consultation in any future developments. The Mayor of Stonnington, Melina Sear, has been granted an interim court order against the head of the local government watchdog group, Council Watch. ABC News has reported Councillor Sear's claims that she's endured 6 years of harassment from Council Watch President Dean Hurlston. The Melbourne Magistrates Court heard that Mr Hurlston, who describes himself as a citizen journalist, allegedly engaged in behaviour including sending emails under false identities and making personal attacks against the Mayor. While the magistrate found no risk of physical harm, she ruled the alleged conduct had caused severe anxiety to Councillor Sear. The interim personal safety intervention order prevents Mr Hurlston from approaching or contacting the Mayor, though he can still attend public council meetings. A 3-day contested hearing is scheduled for June. There's further reporting on that story from The Age. You'll find the link in the show notes. A dispute between the Liberal Party and Boroondara Council over election campaign signs may be headed to court, according to 9 News. The party has threatened action over what it calls unlawful restrictions at a pre-polling booth in Kew, where the council restricts signage to 1 A-frame per candidate, but dozens of Liberal Party signs for candidate Amelia Hamer were displayed without permits. The council has responded by warning of potential $500 fines per unauthorised sign. A dramatic turn of events at Beechworth on Tuesday night, where more than 100 community members gathered outside the Indigo Shire Council chambers, fighting a plan to turn over the running of the Mayday Hills Childcare and Kindergarten Centre to Alpine Children's Services. The Border Mail reported that just minutes before the council meeting was due to start, it was announced that Alpine Children's Services had withdrawn their application, prompting tears of joy from some of those gathered. The council had commenced negotiations on a lease after a decision in March, with a view to the new arrangement commencing in January next year. However, Council CEO Trevor Iorino says the situation is under review and the council will need to revisit the process before making any further announcements. Another piece of the Victorian Council's CEO puzzle has locked into place this week. South Gippsland Shire Council has appointed Alison Jones to the CEO position after an additional council meeting yesterday morning. Ms Jones has been with the council for nearly 5 years as Director of Performance and Innovation and served recently as interim CEO. She's held previous positions at Bass Coast and La Trobe councils and has prior experience in state government. Ms Jones's appointment marks the 7th council CEO position to be filled this calendar year. There are 8 more councils currently looking to fill a vacancy in the top administrative position. One of those is Central Goldfields Shire. Its Mayor, Councillor Grace Lavella, has provided an update on the process to recruit a new council CEO this week. Councillor Lavella says over 20 highly credentialed applicants have put themselves forward and that an appointment is expected by the end of June, if not earlier. You can keep track of Victorian Council CEO appointments on the Local Government News Roundup website. The Victorian Minister for Local Government, Nick Stakos, has unveiled the first mayoral advisory panel of the new council term. The 9-member panel, drawn from urban, regional and rural councils across the state, will meet 3 times this year to provide strategic advice on key issues affecting local government. Minister Stakos says the panel represents diverse local leadership from every corner of the state. It includes mayors from metropolitan councils, including Port Phillip, Glen Eira and Monash, as well as regional representatives from Warrnambool, Mount Alexander and Northern Grampians. The advisory panel will focus on governance issues and other matters of concern to local government throughout this year. Hobsons Bay Mayor Daria Callender says she's received a response from the Attorney-General to her request for the official release of a leaked local government inspectorate report about Hepburn Shire's handling of the failed Rex Theatre redevelopment project. In an update posted to her Facebook page, Councillor Callender said the response did not address her concerns and was, quote, disappointingly short on detail or reassurance, unquote. Councillor Callender maintains the report should be released to ensure no other Victorian council suffers similar governance failures due to a lack of relevant information. A recent decision of Yarra City Council regarding its Elizabeth Street bike lane trial has been clarified at an extraordinary council meeting. The decision confirms widths for permanent protected bike lanes on both sides of Elizabeth Street, North Richmond, and will see the reinstatement of car parking spaces on both sides of the street, with parking management to be comparable to pre-trial conditions. Proposed amendments from some councillors to complete a review of parking restrictions and consider putting concept designs to community consultation were defeated. The final permanent designs will return to the council for approval. Bicycle Network has described the decision as disturbing and has questioned the expertise that has formed the basis for the council's resolution. A quick look at some other council-related stories getting media attention around the state. The Mornington News reported on a vote by Mornington Peninsula Shire to abandon its climate emergency declaration and associated $11.7 million plan over concerns about value for money and tangible outcomes. The controversial decision was made by 6 votes to 5 and has drawn criticism from environmental groups and dissenting councillors who argue the plan was delivering measurable benefits and had strong community support. The Shepparton News reports on what it describes as community confusion and disappointment after a decision of Greater Shepparton City Council not to proceed with the purchase of the Durrangale Mansions site. Mayor Shane Sarley used his casting vote to break a 4-4 tie. The decision means the council will not explore further options for the former prison site, which some had hoped to see used for an equestrian, accommodation and tourism precinct. The Ballarat Courier reports that a review of Ballarat City Council's decision to terminate a $285,000 partnership with environmental group Breeze has been underway for 8 weeks with no end date in sight. The agreement was terminated over alleged anti-Semitic tweets by a former board member. The council says it's in discussions with Breeze and an update will be provided once the process is complete. And The Age has reported on a campaign from around 30 Victorian councils which are opposing the mandatory rollout of glass-only purple bins across the state by 2027. The councils have concerns over increased costs to households and logistical challenges and are instead advocating for an expansion of the container deposit scheme to include glass, wine and spirits bottles, similar to approaches taken in other Australian states. Links to those stories, of course, you can find in the show notes on the LG News Roundup website. Now for today's Victorian briefs, Nillumbik Shire Council is launching a pilot cognitive stimulation therapy program for dementia care in partnership with Whole Step Health, starting in July with 14 sessions over 7 weeks. The evidence-based program, which has shown success in the UK but is not widely available in Australia, aims to provide local and affordable support for people with dementia and their families. Gannawarra Shire Council has cancelled the planned 22-kilometre Kerang-Kundruk rail trail project due to significant environmental constraints and projected costs exceeding $20 million. The decision comes after 2 years of investigations into the potential development of the trail. And former Mitchell Shire Council CEO Brett Luxford has been appointed chair of the RDA Hume Committee. Mr Luxford called time on his local government executive career last year after 2 decades and is a previous foundation board member of Economic Development Australia. Some very sad news to report now. Long-serving Darebin City Councillor Gaetano Greco has passed away. Councillor Greco served on the council from 2008 until his passing, including a term as mayor in 2013-2014. He was known as a passionate advocate for social justice and community engagement, particularly championing the preservation of Preston Market and supporting local businesses. During his 17-year tenure, Councillor Greco worked tirelessly to bridge cultural divides and promote equity between North and South Darebin. He leaves behind his partner Susanna, family and a lasting legacy of community service. Vale, Gaetano Greco. This is the Local Government News Roundup for the 1st of May, edition number 446, brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association. Are you a young councillor wanting to connect with other like-minded people in the sector? Well, register now to save your place at the launch of the VLGA's Young Councillors Network. It's open to all Victorian councillors aged 40 years and under. The YCN is the support group for younger councillors across Victoria, sharing conversations, key learnings, observations and ideas. The VLGA is excited to officially launch the network online on Thursday the 8th of May at 7:30pm. You can meet your fellow YCN members and discuss how the group can best support you throughout the council term. To register for the Young Councillors Network, visit the VLGA website to find out more. Registration is free for councillors aged 40 and under from VLGA member councils. Let's catch up on some local government news out of New South Wales. Northern Beaches residents could see their favourite community events scaled back or cancelled as the council looks to tighten its belt, according to the Daily Telegraph. In a draft budget released this week, the council has proposed cutting several popular events, including the World Food Markets and various holiday celebrations. The move comes as the council awaits a decision on its controversial bid to increase rates by 40% over 3 years. Mayor Sue Hine says tough decisions are necessary to maintain critical infrastructure. The proposed cuts would see children's picnics and outdoor cinema events reduced, while vacation care centres face potential closure. The council says it needs an additional $255 million over the next decade for essential infrastructure improvements. The New South Wales government has proposed stronger penalties and enforcement measures to combat illegal tree clearing in urban areas, following sustained advocacy from Local Government New South Wales and councils around the state. The proposed changes include increased fines, clearer compliance policies and mandatory vegetation replacement requirements, which aim to protect urban canopy and natural environments while supporting councils' efforts to create cooler, greener communities. LG New South Wales President Phyllis Miller said the announcement showed the state government had heard and acted upon councils' calls for stronger protections. Willoughby City Council says it's seeking confirmation from the state government regarding the delivery of promised community infrastructure at the Chatswood Dive site, including a new school and public open space. Mayor Tanya Taylor has expressed concerns about the site's future and is requesting clarity on public benefits, community involvement in planning and project timelines for this significant development in the growing Chatswood area. Liverpool City Council has unveiled a new solution to combat abandoned shopping trolleys across the city. In a move described as Back to the Future, the council plans to trial a program providing subsidised two-wheeled personal shopping trolleys to residents. Deputy Mayor Peter Harle says up to 500 of these so-called granny trolleys will be made available primarily for pensioners and those without private transport. The initiative comes as the council recently impounded nearly 1,200 supermarket trolleys in just 2 months. Liverpool Mayor Ned Mannoun has called on other councils to consider similar programs, describing it as a circular economy solution to a widespread environmental problem. The council is also planning a crackdown on abandoned trolleys this month, with fines of up to $1,320 per trolley to be imposed. A groundbreaking waste-to-energy trial is set to begin in New South Wales, where startup company ARC Ento Tech will construct a commercial plant at the Hawkesbury Waste Management Facility. The Waste Management Review website reports that the facility aims to process 20 tonnes of waste per day, converting an impressive 85% of incoming materials into valuable resources such as biofuel, fertilisers and livestock feed. Hawkesbury City Mayor Les Sheether says the initiative comes at a critical time, with Greater Sydney's landfill capacity predicted to reach its limit by 2030. He's expressed optimism about the trial's potential to extend the life of local landfill facilities and revolutionise waste management across the nation. Region Riverina reports that Griffith Council is planning to implement a ticketless paid parking system at its regional airport. 3 suppliers have provided quotes for a licence plate recognition system that will accept card payments only. The initiative is part of the council's efforts to increase revenue and is currently under investigation, with updated quotations being sought and parking fees yet to be determined. And council rangers are stepping up the fight against illegal camping on the Central Coast, with new round-the-clock patrols and hefty fines for offenders. Prior to Easter, authorities were warning visitors that camping in residential streets, beach car parks and nature reserves is strictly prohibited. Rangers will now patrol 7 days a week, including overnight, issuing on-the-spot fines of up to $2,200. Repeat offenders could face penalties of up to $110,000 under the crackdown. Support for the Local Government News Roundup comes from Symphony 3. You know how challenging it can be to manage data across all your different systems? Well, that's where Symphony 3 comes in. They've developed Smart Glue, a platform that integrates over 55 council systems, automating data flow without the need for manual work, turning confusion into simplicity. With Smart Glue, councils save time, reduce errors and empower staff to focus on what really matters. The clients see a real difference too, up to 20% boost in productivity, with savings of over $30,000 per integration every year. Symphony 3, helping councils work smarter, faster and more efficiently, all while better supporting the communities they serve. On with the news, and let's head into Queensland, where there's been a dramatic turnaround on the Capricorn Coast, with Livingstone Shire Council reversing a controversial decision to suspend the installation of electric vehicle charging stations in Yeppoon. ABC News reported that the initial suspension came after Mayor Adam Bellott watched a television report about environmental and human rights concerns in the nickel mining industry. The decision sparked immediate community backlash, leading to a packed special council meeting where the suspension was overturned. However, the supplier engaged to deliver the project has now formally withdrawn its involvement, citing concerns about reputational risks and high ergon tariff charges. The CEO, Terry Dodds, said the supplier would be informed of the council's decision to proceed and be given an opportunity to reconsider its position. Noosa Council employees are expected to take their fourth strike action today, Thursday, amid an ongoing dispute over wages and working conditions, with union members demanding fair pay increases that reflect Noosa's cost of living. The Services Union claims the council's position is unsustainable, given their $120.9 million in cash reserves, while also citing concerns over high vacancy and staff turnover rates. The Sunshine Coast News reported that a meeting with Council CEO Larry Sengstock failed to produce a resolution. Mr Sengstock is reportedly frustrated that protected action is proceeding ahead of another conciliatory meeting scheduled for next week. Cairns Council has welcomed ALP and coalition funding commitments of $15 million for a high-performance training centre at West Barlow Park. The facility is part of one of the council's main advocacy priorities for a major events precinct and aims to make Cairns the pre-eminent destination for women's sport in Australia. Gympie Regional Council is seeking public assistance to identify illegal dumpers after a large quantity of waste was dumped near the Old Bruce Highway. The council has received 75 illegal dumping complaints and recorded over 78,000 litres of illegal waste this year alone. It estimates an annual cost of $15 million for waste disposal and is encouraging residents to properly dispose of waste at designated facilities rather than in parks, forests or by roadsides. And the Gold Coast Bulletin has reported that the Gold Coast City Council's plan to clear a Southport tent city has sparked a dispute with its own staff over safety concerns, while highlighting broader issues around homelessness solutions, with the council moving to enforce compliance measures, including potential fines of up to $8,000 for rough sleepers. More news briefs. Dr Felicity Ann Lewis OAM, the former mayor of the city of Marion from 2000 to 2014, has been appointed as chair of VLGA South Australia's Independent Behavioural Standards Panel. Dr Lewis has extensive local government experience and was awarded an Order of Australia in 2021. Douglas Shire Mayor Lisa Skamazin and Councillor Damien Meadows will attend a disaster management conference in Brisbane next month. The council said it's an opportunity for the chair and deputy of the local disaster management group to learn from other local government leaders with a focus on disaster preparedness. The City of Melville has launched a free children's activity book called Murals and More, a Canning Bridge adventure that features interactive activities centred around the area's public art and murals. And the VLGA is calling on the next Australian government to provide a new $400 million climate adaptation fund for all councils to deliver sustainable place-based climate solutions. Checking in on Tasmania now, Hobart City Council has formally voted to oppose the controversial Macquarie Point Stadium project. Pulse Tasmania reported that after more than 2 hours of heated debate, councillors decided the negative impacts of the proposed development outweigh any potential benefits. The council will now revise its submission to the Tasmanian Planning Commission, despite earlier economic analysis suggesting the stadium could deliver nearly $179 million in annual economic benefits. Huon Valley Council has issued an apology after wrongfully removing an election campaign billboard belonging to independent candidate Peter George. Pulse Tasmania reported the council had initially claimed the billboard at Castle Forbes Bay didn't comply with planning regulations, despite the same location being used by major party candidates in previous elections. Council CEO Lachlan Cranz has admitted the removal request was made in error, following a second review which found existing billboards aren't subject to new electoral signage provisions. Burnie City Council has approved a motion to establish an LGBTIQA+ advisory group and develop an inclusion plan, despite opposition from Councillor Trent Aitken, who's received over 100 complaints since December regarding his anti-transgender comments. The Mercury reported that the motion, put forward by Deputy Mayor Giovanna Simpson, aims to ensure LGBTIQA+ community members feel included and supported, with the advisory group to include local community members, representatives from Equality Tasmania and other community services. Several local councils in South Australia have come under fire from medical experts accused of promoting vaccine scepticism. 3 councils in the Limestone Coast region, Grant, Robe and Naracoorte-Lucendale, along with their regional association, have passed motions questioning vaccine safety. ABC News has reported the concerns of media experts who emphasise that Australia has one of the world's strictest regulatory environments for vaccine testing and describe the actions as irresponsible. The council motions stem from debunked claims about COVID-19 vaccine contamination. Council leaders say they're merely responding to community concerns. However, some have admitted they lack medical expertise.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey there, I'm Aviva Klompus. The news moves fast, and it's not easy to cut through the noise and understand what really matters.
Okay, guys, we got to get off the roof.
So sorry to interrupt. We do now have...
That's why twice a week I sit down with former Israeli ambassador to Washington, Dr. Michael Oren, and other leading voices to dig beyond the headlines.
It is happening fast.
This is not something that's...
Let us go back, a 30,000-foot moment.
Subscribe to Boundless Insights wherever you get your podcasts.
Charles Sturt Council wants greater powers to tackle parking issues caused by large vehicles in Adelaide's western suburbs. The council has voted to approach the state's Transport Minister, Tom Koutsantonis, for a review of current parking laws following ongoing complaints about trailers, boats and caravans being stored long-term on suburban streets. The Local Government Association told the Adelaide Advertiser that current laws need updating to match changing suburban lifestyles. And Barunga West Council has decided to maintain its current structure of 8 councillors and a mayor without wards, despite some public submissions favouring ward reintroduction. The council will move to direct mayoral elections by the community starting from 2026, replacing the current system of internal election by councillors. And in news out of Western Australia, Jeff Gooding, PSM, has been appointed as Commissioner of the Shire of Derby West Kimberley following the resignation of 5 councillors in February from the 9-member council. The remaining offices of council have been declared vacant by the Minister. Mr Gooding's appointment is until the October local government elections. He's worked extensively in local and state government in the Kimberley region for 46 years and is expected to provide stability and good governance during the transitional period. WA opposition leader Basil Zemplis has formally apologised for breaching local government regulations during his recent state election campaign. WA Today reported that the former Perth Lord Mayor was found to have inappropriately used his council position for political advantage by posting campaign material on his official mayoral social media accounts. The Local Government Standards Panel ordered Mr Zemplis to make a public apology after ruling he'd failed to maintain an appropriate division between his roles as Lord Mayor and Liberal candidate. His apology has been published on the City of Perth's Facebook page. And the City of Coburn has become Western Australia's first local government to install a zero-waste refill station, allowing residents to refill reusable containers with household and personal care liquids from WA manufacturers. The initiative, operated by Skipping Stones Refillery, aims to reduce single-use plastic waste while supporting the local circular economy, with plans to introduce a refill reward rebate program for residents in the coming months. Let's have some stories from overseas now in our global report to round out this edition. A bit happening in the UK. A scandal has erupted at Lambeth Council as details emerge of a £90,000 payoff to its former chief executive, who resigned following a drink driving incident. According to a report from The Times, Bayo de Sunmu stepped down from his £190,000 per year position after being arrested at more than 3 times the legal alcohol limit last June. Police reports indicate he fled the scene after crashing his Jeep in central London, but was pursued by the other vehicle involved. The revelation of the generous payoff comes at a particularly sensitive time for the council, which is currently seeking a £40 million government bailout while facing criticism over its near £1 billion debt. The council has defended the payment, saying it covers notice period, unused holiday and election duties. BBC News has reported that the leader of Thurrock Council, John Kent, has announced his resignation after serving as Labor Group leader for more than 2 decades. He steps down as the council grapples with a staggering £900 million debt inherited from the previous Conservative administration's failed solar farm investments. Despite citing progress in strengthening financial management and improving scrutiny systems, Councillor Kent acknowledged the council's position remains precarious, with a £74 million borrowing requirement this year alone. A Doncaster Council employee has been dismissed following the discovery of a fraudulent scheme involving over £1,000 in unauthorised refunds. The Doncaster Free Press reported the staff member allegedly processed £1,033 worth of fake refunds, directing the payments to themselves and family members for services that were never actually provided. The fraud came to light during June and July of last year when the employee's service manager uncovered the suspicious activity. An internal audit investigation confirmed the fraudulent transactions, leading to the individual's immediate termination from their position. And the council says it's pursuing recovery of the misappropriated funds. Local elections are happening in England this week, with 23 council elections taking place, primarily for county councils, alongside 4 regional mayoral races. Some planned elections have been postponed due to potential council restructuring. The Guardian reported that the results will be particularly scrutinised as a reflection on Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch's performance, especially given that the last elections in 2021 occurred during a period of high Conservative popularity under Boris Johnson. To the US and Los Angeles, where I was just a couple of days ago. The City Council there is set to debate a controversial proposal that would ban certain offensive slurs during council and committee meetings. DailyNews.com reported that the motion specifically targets racial and gender-based epithets that have been increasingly used by some members of the public during meetings. While council members argue the ban is necessary to maintain decorum, citing the Supreme Court's fighting words doctrine, free speech advocates are pushing back. Under the proposed rules, violators would face warnings and potential meeting bans. In Canada, over 40 members of the new Canadian Parliament will bring significant municipal government experience to the House of Commons. Chris Brown of the Cross Border Network has crunched the numbers and reported that more than 12% of incoming MPs have served as mayors, councillors or other local government officials. The Liberal Party leads this municipal wave with over 24 former local leaders, while the Conservative Party follows closely with 20 MPs bringing local government credentials to Ottawa. A surprising move from Peterborough City Council in Canada, which has approved substantial pay rises for elected officials starting in the next term, according to KawarthaNow.com. The council voted 8-3 in favour of increasing the mayor's salary by 60% and councillors' pay by 52%, taking effect in December 2026. Under the new compensation package, the mayor's salary will jump to nearly $148,000, while councillors will see their pay rise to about $55,000. The package also includes a 17% boost to vehicle allowances. And our final stop today is New Zealand, where the mayors across the country have been called on to join government efforts to lift school attendance. Assistant Education Minister David Seymour has written to mayors, urging them to use a new daily school attendance dashboard to raise awareness and spark local action. He wants mayors to be champions for education in their regions and lead conversations in their communities about the issue. In the final term of the last school year, only 58.1% of students attended school regularly, which was an improvement of 5% on the previous year. And Ruapehu District Mayor Weston Curtin has launched an independent investigation into a $700,000 overspend in the council's community and recreational services, with initial reports attributing the issue to wrong coding, consultancy costs and over-budget contracts. Radio New Zealand reported that while there are no signs of misappropriation, the council may need to pause projects and reduce services to address the financial impact, with an investigation report expected within the next month. Well, that's been a bumper edition of the Local Government News Roundup for the 1st of May, episode number 446. I think we've pretty much caught up. We'll be back to our regular schedule of 3 episodes per week from next week. The podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. You can find out more about this episode, including the story links, at lgnewsroundup.com. If you find the podcast useful and value the content, we'd love it if you'd consider supporting us through a monthly subscription. Support starts at $3 per month, which is around $5 Australian, and you can cancel your subscription at any time. You can find the details on our website or in your podcast player. The Local Government News Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. Until next time, thanks for listening and bye for now. I'm thrilled to welcome Symphony 3 to the Local Government News Roundup family. If you're a local council, you know how challenging it can be to manage data across all your different systems. That's where Symphony 3 comes in. They've developed Smart Glue, a platform that integrates over 55 council systems, automating data flow without the need for manual work. It turns confusion into simplicity. With Smart Glue, councils save time, reduce errors and empower staff to focus on what really matters. Their clients see a real difference, up to 20% boost in productivity, with savings of over $30,000 per integration every year. Symphony 3 helps councils work smarter, faster and more efficiently, all while better supporting the communities they serve.